Back for some more of my Christmas special with another PS3 game in which we're going to play Jeopardy. Let's see how it goes.
This is Jeopardy! Please welcome our contestants. Player 1. Player 2. Player 3. And now, here is the host of Jeopardy, Alex Trebek.
Thank you, Johnny Gilbert, and thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. Let's take you right now into the Jeopardy round. Clues are worth $200 to $1,000 in these categories. TV shows that bombed. Bible belts. I sentence you. Animal Farm. 1907. And pets. Player 1. With more than 4,300 species, lizards make up the largest living group of this animal class. Okay, Player 1. Good. Here's Jimmy with the clue.
In the South, soups, greens, and bean dishes get added flavor from this part of the pig, referred to by an alliterative name.
It's Player 1. Yes. The scaly armor that surrounds the armadillo is composed of plates made of this. It's formed by ossification. Okay, Player 1. That is correct. No laughing matter. In Africa, a dozen of these can reduce a 500-pound zebra to bones in 30 minutes. Yes, Player 1? You got it. Thought to be bad luck by natives, the eye is a lemur, so it's no surprise it's only found here. Yes, Player 1? That is correct. Player 1, choose again. In the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus says that if someone smiteth you here, offer also the other. Let's hear it, Player 1. Good. After striking down his brother in Genesis, this man said, "My punishment is greater than I can bear." It's Player 1. That is correct. Player 1, in Numbers chapter 20, after the Israelites complained, Moses smote one of these twice, and water came out. Okay, Player 1. That's correct. Player 1. Answer. It's the Daily Double. You are in first place. The clue. In a book named for Moses' successor, this man smites the Gibeonites, the Hebronites, and the Eglonites. That puts you even further ahead. Please. In Judges, Samson whopped on 1,000 Philistines with this part of an ass. Player one? Right. You get to pick again, player one. It's used in abbreviations and initials as well as to end sentences. Yes, player one? That's it. Burton Braley contradicted himself and wrote, "This is a word you mustn't end a sentence with." Let's hear it, player one. Right. Of I did it, did you do it, or do it. It's the imperative sentence. Okay, player one. Right. Player one. This type of sentence has multiple independent clauses and no dependent clauses. Okay, player one. Yes. The name of this punctuation mark comes from a Greek word meaning piece cut off. Okay, player one. That's right, way to go. Player one, pick again. Florin Ziegfeld produced his first of these extravaganzas in 1907 and would continue them for the next 24 years. Okay, player one. Good. Player one. For works like Gunga Din, he became the first Brit awarded the Nobel Prize for Literature. Let's hear it, player one. Good. With this man as president, the government budget was $579 million, and unemployment stood at 2.8%. Yes, player one? Right. Charles Curtis, Republican, Kansas, became the first Native American to serve as one of these. Let's hear it, player one. Right. Player one, more than 40 nations attended the Second International This Conference in The Hague. Let's hear it, player one. Yes. Player one. With more than 70 million living with American households, this is the most common house pet in the United States. Yes, player one? Yes. Player this one. Type of parrot that bears the name of a South American river can get used to cooler temperatures. Player one? Right. Often advertised in comic books, see these are actually brine shrimp in suspended animation. Let's hear it, player one. Good for you. William Howard Taft was the last pres to have one of these grazing at the White House. Her name was Pauline Wayne. Player one? Right. Player one. One of the oldest domesticated dog breeds is the Saluki, the royal dog of this ancient people. Yes, player one? No, sorry. Anyone else want to hazard a guess on this? Let's hear it, player three. That's right. Way to go. Player 3, start us. In a 2007 episode of this series, a terrorist detonated a low-yield suitcase nuke in Valencia, California. It's player 1. Correct. Okay, here's Kelly from our Clue Crew with the clue.
In an episode of this classic 60s series, bookworm Henry Bemis survives a nuclear war and finds a library, but then breaks his glasses.
Player 1? Yes. This series, Peter Petrelli had visions that he would cause a nuclear holocaust in New York City. Player 1? Right. Selecting. In a 1977 episode of this sitcom, Detective Diedrich notes that a student's physics project is a functional nuke. Yes, player 1? Good. Here's the $1,000 clue for you. The nuclear blast that caused chaos in Jericho, Kansas, was detonated in this state capital to the west. Let's hear it, player 1. That's it. The Double Jeopardy round will begin right after this. The categories for the Double Jeopardy round are flowers, country's highest points, football, Minority Report, Brit Speak, and Title Ballet Women. All right, let's get back into this. Player 2 has this country isn't out of kilter.
Oh, man.
With the thistle as its national flower. Player 1? Hey, you're right. Player 1, on March 22, 1994, the Dutch ambassador to the United States gave her a new tulip named for her. Player 1? Correct. Singularly speaking, the bright blue cornflower is known as this button. Yes, player 1? Yes. Jimmy will present this clue.
Also called galanthus, it's among the earliest garden flowers to blossom in spring.
Player 1? Sorry, that's wrong. Any other takers? Player 3? That's right. Way to go. All right, let's get back into this. Player 3 has bloom forms of this large hardy perennial include spoon, quill, and pompon. Player 1? Yes. Player 1? Nigel likes his eggs with rashers, also known as this. Okay, player 1? That's not it. Anyone else want to hazard a guess on this? It's player 3. Ooh, sorry. That's incorrect. Anyone else? It's player 2. Yes. Player 2, you start. A 1936 dissent by Justice Stone accused 6 other justices of a tortured construction of this document. Okay, player 1. You got it. In his first major case as Chief Justice, he found himself in the minority in 2006 as Oregon's assisted suicide was okayed. Okay, player one. Correct. Player one. Justice Brennan, dissenting in Paris Adult Theater v. Slayton, said this quality is too vaguely defined to regulate. Let's hear it, player one. Yes. Player Justice one. Holmes dissented when seditionist Jacob Abrams' conviction was upheld, saying he didn't pose this type of danger. Yes, player one. Good for you. Justice Harlan was an honorable one-man minority in the 1896 decision Plessy v. Him. It's player one. Hey, you're right. Player one. It's the British word for a merry-go-round or a traffic circle. Player one? No. Sorry. Anyone else? Player two. Yes. Player two, you start us off. 1949 saw the first ballet version of this operatic Bizet work that features Don Jose and a toreador. Player one? Right you are. Player one? The evil priest Frollo wants Esmeralda, but she's saved by a man named this. Yes, player one? You are correct. Margot Fontaine dazzled audiences as Princess Aurora in this ballet. It's player one. That's correct. Answer. The first of the daily doubles. And you're in the lead now. Okay, here is the clue. This Kenneth Macmillan ballet intrigues with the curious story of the last of the four daughters of Tsar Nicholas II. Congratulations, you're still in first, player one. Player one? This Greek gal falls for her stepson Hippolytus in a ballet based on Racine's tragedy. Player one? Good. Player one. An all-male school wouldn't have an alumni reunion, but a gathering of these, part of the network of them. Let's hear it, player one. Sorry, that's wrong. Any other takers? The correct response is old boys. So it can mean having a healthy rosy color or be a British intensifier like bloody. Okay, player one. Nope. Sorry. Anyone else want to hazard a guess on this? Here's what we wanted. Ruddy. Player Perspex one. Is a British name for this trademarked acrylic plastic. Yes, player one? No. Sorry. Anyone else? Let's hear it, player three. Good. A lot of clues, a lot of categories, player three. Make us a Mount Kosciuszko in New South Wales. Yes, player one? Correct. La Pico de Teide in the Canary Islands. Yes, player one? Sorry, that's wrong. Anyone else care to try to come up with a correct response? Let's hear it, player three. Very good. Player three, where do we start? In East Africa, Mount Kilimanjaro. Player one? Hey, you're right. Phnom Aural. Player one? That's right, way to go. Player one, in Central America, Doyle's Delight, not Victoria Peak as was thought. Okay, player one. Sorry. Anyone else? The correct response is Belize. Select this cup representing Canadian football supremacy was donated by the descendant of a tea namesake. Let's hear it, player one. That is correct. Player one. On January 10th, 1982. Let's hear it, player one. You got it. This Cowboys wide receiver of the 1990s is in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Okay, player one. Yep. Here's Jimmy from our Clue Crew with the clue.
In this type of trick play, the quarterback hands off to a running back, who hands off to a tight end going in the opposite direction.
Player one? Right. And the $2,000 clue? Answer? The second daily double. You are in the lead right now. How much are you going to wager, player one? Here is your clue. To see this NFL team's home games at FedEx Field, take a shuttle bus from the Landover Metro stop. That puts you even further ahead. All three of you will participate in Final Jeopardy right after this. Here's today's Final Jeopardy category. Economics. You need to select your wager. Let's take a look at that Final Jeopardy clue right now. In 2007, this 18th century professor and writer became the first Scotsman to appear on an English banknote. Did you come up with the correct response? And that correct response will add... Let's see your response. With that correct response, you will gain... Did you come up with the correct response? How much do you add to your total with that correct response?
It's all for another game, everyone.
You've come out ahead as our champion, player one. So long, everybody.